Hey, what's up, everybody? How y'all doing? Welcome to the Wingin It podcast. We got a special guest with us today, Sandstorm McDowell. How are you doing, sir?
What's up, guys? I'm doing really good. How are you?
We are doing well. Andre, the game I get the guy, the happy father. How you doing?
Doing good. Got a peaceful baby sleeping right now, but I'm good. And
Cool.
ready to talk about some stupid people on the internet for video games.
Yep. So before we get into our weekend hilarity and foolishness, if you check in the description below, I put a link to Sandstorm's channel. Check him out, show him love. Let's support people. Let's support. So, first thing on the agenda today, can y'all please stop with this F-Zero foolishness?
Can I jump? Can I jump in that first?
Please take it away.
Since people and Shadow had this conversation on Twitter, and somebody said something that I completely disagree with, because Shadow said the thing that I agree with, and that's that F-Zero is harder than Dark Souls. Now,
very much so.
People who let's put this into context. If you were to play either one of these games from jump, no instructions given to you, you could figure out Dark Souls quicker than you could figure out F-Zero. And on top of that, you could be at the top of your game playing F-Zero and still lose.
Yep.
Whereas Dark Souls, if you pay attention to context clues and you're good at like investigative type stuff, that game is easy. That series is easy. It's only hard for people that don't know how to look at what their surroundings are and don't like to search for things. Then it becomes difficult and monotonous and like playing Ninja Gaiden on the NES.
No, man, it's easy for those of us who did not have to come up playing Contra, TMNT on NES, TMNT on NES.
Oh, NES, the water level.
Wolverine, X-Men Wolverine's Adamantium Rage. What's the other one that was ridiculous that made no damn sense how hard it was, but not broken. That's the other thing. It wasn't broken. Kid Icarus, the original one.
Oh, Dark Castle.
Yeah,
the original Dark Castle.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Some of y'all would not have made it in the 80s. I'm gonna tell y'all right now. Some of y'all would not have made it in. Y'all would have hated gaming.
No, look, they would not have gotten past the first two levels of Chippendale Rescue Rangers on the NES.
Facts.
Not at all. But
I mean,
even
when you
go ahead. No,
when you have lives like that, just back in the day, when you started off with 3, you had to work your way up. You had to work your way up, or game over, start all over again.
Or worse, when you had to share a pool of lives.
Oh my god!
And you was playing with somebody that didn't play that well.
Or didn't know what they were doing.
I ain't giving you this last one. I ain't giving you this last one.
No.
That was the thing I hated about Contra, because it wasn't even something you could choose. If they hit the button, they could just take one of your lives and come into the game. I'm like, bruh, no.
Seriously?
I'm like, look, I'm on my last 2. Can you leave me to have at least the last 2?
Because you needed them. Like on Contra, you needed every life you got.
Especially the first game. Once you get to like the last quarter of it, those lives became precious.
Right.
And then Contra 3, once you hit the third stage going forward, it was a cardinal sin to just snatch somebody's lives. You needed to ask permission.
That one,
you was asking permission, or you was getting punched in the face.
And if you grab the last spread, everybody fighting in their house. Everybody's fighting.
But to get back onto the point of F-Zero, a lot of the people that are asking for it have not played it. I can tell literally by looking at conversations people are having. And I'm sorry, Spawn Wave me, as much as I love your content, man, you talking about Kirby getting games versus F-Zero and how Laboratories produces Kirby and is a subsidiary of Nintendo, not directly Nintendo, is misleading. One, Kirby makes more money than F-Zero.
Yeah, I'm gonna say Kirby makes money every iteration they have. What are you talking about?
Whether you want to believe it or not, Kirby makes more money than F-Zero, always has. Secondly, F-Zero does not sell as well as people think it does. And that doesn't count for the people that went and bought a used copy of the game well after it was off store shelves and said, oh, I support F-Zero. How many of y'all, when y'all had y'all Wii U's, when the games were put on the eShop, how many of you actually bought all of those games? I did. I know several other people that did.
I did.
But then
I was
again, a
right
lot
there.
of these people also didn't want to get a Wii U, and then are complaining about the Wii U's features not being on the Switch. Oddly enough, but
Well, here's another thing too. The GameCube only sold 22 million units. The amount of noise I'm hearing, I'm like, look,
don't cover no 22
don't
million.
cover, yeah, it don't cover it. So I bought 2 GameCubes, one for me and I bought one for my brother. So I had 2. I bought F-Zero GX. I also bought the Extreme G games. I love those games. But
Extreme G. Don't even get me started.
Extreme G was your stepping stone to F-Zero X.
Yeah.
Oh,
If you didn't play F-Zero,
Yeah.
Extreme G was your stepping stone.
That's how you learn.
man.
To me, that's how I learned. That's how I learned.
But they're still both good. But like I'm looking at the people sitting here like, well, they can just throw them all together on the eShop. Like, okay, yes, they could do that, but how many of you will actually buy them?
Yeah. Right. How many of you will actually go through and actually buy it? That's why I said, like, I think it was either last week. What's up, Jack?
What's going on, man?
What's up?
So that's why I said, like, last week, if I'm Nintendo, I'm gonna do a stress test. I'm like, okay, I'm gonna put F-Zero GX GameCube version on the Switch. I'm gonna see how much it sells, and then we can talk.
Yeah,
then we can talk.
But F-Zero, like a lot of these people don't realize, F-Zero has always been a difficult series. Back on the first game on the SNES, it's always been a difficult series. Yeah. And I'm like, yeah, like y'all really don't know what y'all stepping into when y'all talk about wanting this game. Y'all really don't. Like you just hear just because you heard a popular YouTuber ask about it or say something about it, like, but somebody like me says something and comes up with genuine ideas as to where they could progress with the series. It's not that Nintendo doesn't have ideas. I call bullshit on that.
No.
Right.
But it doesn't do well for them financially as again, something like Kirby or like Mario, Zelda. It's in the same area that Metroid is in. And people complain about Metroid. Like, but y'all get the games y'all asked for and then you don't buy them. Like somebody was making a comparison to Star Fox. Again, Star Fox Zero, if you went back and looked at what all these people were saying and asking about, they got the exact game that they wanted. They just couldn't play it because they weren't up to par and skill level. And that's their problem. Learn how to play the game. If I could sit the game down in front of a 4-year-old child and they can pick up and adjust to this game, there's no reason that an adult age 20 and above couldn't understand this game.
I tell people all the time, my little nephew, who at the time I think was 6, I let him play through the first level. He had a little trouble on the first level, but after that, he was good to go.
But then you got games journalists that can't beat the first level without being on easy where you don't take damage.
Right.
I'm like,
okay. Well, then you got the strategies too, where we're going to help market Dark Souls as being hard, and I'm like. So I don't get this. So all the other hard games that you can't play, you're going to say those are unintuitive and therefore unplayable and deserving of a lower review score. And if you go back and you start looking at the revisionist history these guys have, they didn't give really good scores to F-Zero games either, specifically because they were hard. So
they said it was a barrier. They said it was a barrier to entry.
Yep.
Okay, a difficult game just means you got to have more skill. You have to build up that skill. And
I'm sorry, if reviewing games is your job, we're not talking about a YouTuber. We're talking about you are paid by a corporation to review a product for people to see. It is literally your job to be the expert because people are looking for your opinion for your recommendation on these games. So why are you giving a loose cannon recommendation on a game that you obviously don't have experience with, or you're not well versed enough in to give a recommendation? It's just so. Imagine asking for stock tips from somebody that I just don't like using that stock over there. If they're still profitable,
right?
Yeah.
Why should I ever listen to you because you're biased against this one stock over here? Like,
right. Yeah, I mean, that always kind of came back to, I always felt like most of these studios should have a person that's dedicated to a certain platform. Like, if that's what you do, if that's what you play, this is the guy that's going to be reviewing the game because he can give me some type of history, some type of background, previous games that are in that genre to kind of reference off of before he does the review.
Yep.
Instead, you have Aaron Greenberg review a Final Fantasy game
Right.
only on the Nintendo platform to trash it, and then on the PlayStation platform gives an average review and doesn't review any RPGs for Xbox at all, but becomes an Xbox ambassador. This is the type of world, but this is the world in no other industry would this trash fly. Like only here, only here.
Ridiculous.
Because it doesn't seem to be taken serious as a medium, though. To be honest with you.
Yeah, that's true. That is true. What's up, FJ in the chat? Yeah, adults these days do have short attention spans. I can attest to that.
Very much so.
I can attest to that. Yeah, I mean, and revisionist history.
Yep,
there's a lot of revisionist history going around, especially with one of your friends, Shadow. Your good buddy, Mr. Altano from IGN.
Oh yeah,
Brian.
Yeah, Brian.
Are we rapping yet, or are we? How many bars are we dropping? We been rapping? I didn't know. I didn't know that he's an authority in hip hop apparently. So
that's your best friend. Oh no, yeah, bro.
Since his call sign apparently.
I don't even get involved in y'all back and forth no more. I just sit back with popcorn and I love when you and Brian go. Dude, that's all you can do.
I don't even want to get involved in those conversations. I put him 6 feet under in the dirt, and he would feel bad about it.
I'm like, dude,
those conversations.
Are you really going to sit here? You're really going to sit here and act like, okay, so the thing that you're going to say, oh well, I just think that we need to really stop talking about how backwards compatibility isn't important. I'm like, all y'all did was trash Wii U for that, and then.
Right, we literally said that as part of the Gamers at Large back in the day, multiple times. Like you have a whole library of Wii games that you could go buy and play if the Wii U doesn't have a bunch of stuff ready for you yet.
Right, and then we called it. We said that PS4 and Xbox One were going to have a trash library when they launched. They weren't going to be ready, and then when it happened, what did they do? They just said, "Go buy Resogun. It's okay.
Go buy
Resogun,
Resogun, or Rise Son of Rome."
Yep.
And the kill of all this, now that Microsoft has done Xbox Game Pass, now backward compatibility is important.
Oh yeah.
Oh man, it's all a hype right now. We got so many games.
Y'all trash backward compatibility for goddamn 6 years.
Oh, believe
for games you don't even own.
Yeah.
Game Pass would not be a thing right now if Sony had something to play. If Sony has something to play, I wouldn't even say Xbox because they dog Xbox out consistently. Yeah. But if they didn't have anything to play, Game Pass wouldn't be a thing. Now, mind you, everyone forgets about Nintendo. Nintendo games don't count. Everything
even though their first party stuff sells the best overall.
But you're forgetting, Andre, it's because of the pandemic, as if the other games didn't release in that time frame either. And they didn't get a significant boost.
So Breath of the Wild sold well because of the pandemic.
Oh yeah.
Mario Odyssey sold well because of the pandemic.
I mean,
thank God for new
Splatoon 2 sold
I know, right?
Hey, all I can say
that's real shaky ground there.
The only thing is
6 games over 20 million, but go ahead.
Sandstorm, you brought it up actually. Animal Crossing just destroyed all of that because I know people who hate all they ever do is talk about how much they hate Nintendo. You would see them with, "Hey man, y'all coming to my island? Y'all coming to my island? Hey, did y'all get the new? I'm coming. Hey, come to my island. I'll come to your island."
Yep.
These are also the same people that hate Nintendo, but they'll play Mario Kart.
Oh yeah,
they're like they are trending. They're trending, and I need them clicks. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna stream this game. That's what I'm gonna do, even if I don't like it. Like it's
I can't do that. I can't.
I can't do that either. But here's my thing about the whole, and I'm going to end my whole thing with the F-Zero with this. I'm in college. I have a GameCube. I think a lot of people didn't buy that GameCube because they got picked on and joned on basically.
Yep.
The purple lunchbox.
I did. Yeah, because that's what they were calling the purple lunchbox. But
even though there were multiple colors.
But guess what happens every weekend, every Friday, every Saturday, every Sunday? Who is at who apartment playing Smash, Mario Kart, Eternal Darkness? Like that. I'm like, what the? Hold on.
Then the wrestling games came out.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
And the killer about all this was they'd say that, and then they'd be like, "Hey man, don't tell nobody I was over here."
Mm-hmm.
But you
It's like, oh no, but I'm telling everybody we was playing Dead Reckoning. I'm gonna tell everybody we was playing.
But these are the same people.
Def Jam Vendetta, yeah, you were.
Yeah, you was on that.
These are the
NBA
same people though that a generation before saw Nintendo drop a line of rainbow colored consoles.
Yep.
And nobody complained about it. So I'm like, what was the difference between where you could have a purple translucent console versus an indigo box?
We grew up
Literally a
we grew up.
Pikachu in 64.
A
Pikachu in
That
64.
one was dope. That
And I've
Pikachu-
seen grown men. I knew grown men that had that back when I was a little kid.
Yeah.
So I'm like, what difference? And I remember one of my friend's cousins, his older cousin dude was like 28 at the time, had the Hey You Pikachu N64, and he played that game like every day.
Yeah.
Just because he like messing around with Pikachu, looking at his confused face. Like you take time to get to find enjoyment in it based on how it works for you, not based on how it works for everybody else.
Yeah.
So real quick, so y'all saw the conversation I was going back and forth on social media about this, right? So basically, the gist is, well, I mean, her and a bunch of other people too. So like,
that list got long. That list got long.
The gist was like people were trying to ignore what's actually happening. We know what's happening, right? So F-Zero is a franchise that a lot of people didn't buy. We say the same thing about Metroid. Like, if y'all don't buy this, like, it's not going to happen. And Nintendo has told y'all 15 years ago, unless we see some type of valid input, we're not going to do it. Basically, we need a way to get return on investment.
Right.
And so, and then I said, hey, look, this game is hard. And we start having a conversation about, that versus Dark Souls and all this kind of stuff and everything. And I'm like, y'all got some fuzzy memories, bro. Like, you're talking about the Super NES and you didn't really have much of save data. Yeah, you could save what you did on the cup, but only after you completed it. So you had 4 races that you had to go through flawlessly with no mistakes. And we're talking about on normal speed. Once you start playing on hard anything and you want to unlock, you playing in the King Cup, like, get up out of here.
I remember
Firefield, zero mistakes.
You couldn't make one mistake, and even if you didn't, you still could get passed up by that one cheap bull crap car that just somehow speed by you at the end of the race.
And it's a random car every race. It's a random one every race that messes with you.
It was always one of them random orange ones. It was never like one of the main cars. It was always one of them random orange cars just zoom right by you at the last second when you this close to the finish line.
But see, we got
nowhere.
We got folks thinking that so these YouTubers that they follow, the people that have these big channels or whatnot, they have openly admitted that they avoided GameCube like the plague.
Yeah.
During the 6th generation. And they're just now getting around to collecting for GameCube because A, it's popular, and B, they don't have anybody to pick on them now because it's not the schoolyard days anymore where the bullies, whatever. You ain't gonna do this right here and say, don't talk to me no more because I'm gonna play what the fuck I want to play because my happiness is all I'm about. And if you're gonna trash my happiness, get out my face.
Right.
A lot of people weren't bold like that. So they wait until now that they're older, to go back and go play all this stuff that they were embarrassed to play back then.
Because it's cool.
Because it's cool now. Now it's cool, and these games are $200 a piece. So I'm like, y'all acting like it wasn't a negative thing back then. Yes, we knew it was a negative thing back then, just like it was negative during the N64 era when they first started the whole kitty thing. Then they tried to do it with Wii, even though it ended up being majorly successful. Everybody, to include the press, tried to act like we did not exist alongside 360 and PS3. The first they say, oh well, the HD twins, or well, the consoles and the Wii. They came up with all these crazy ass conversations that tried not to include Nintendo into the conversation. And GameCube was crazy because you're gonna sit here and tell me that this console that has the same amount of M-rated games as a PS2, like, and it has M-rated games, it's got a game with a naked lady in it, like, off the rip, and you're gonna tell me that console that's more powerful than a PS2 is designed just for kids? Like, I can't even. You got a first party game that's M-rated, like, to the point where, like, Nintendo's not giving away that trademark. They putting Alexandria inside of damn Smash Brothers as a token or what have you. So they're not giving it up. Eternal Darkness is still a thing. So it just blows my mind how people they went to go say, "Hey, look, we want to ignore how bad this console was treated during this time," and they're going to do the same thing with Wii U as well. It's going to happen again.
But hey, let's also ignore that Conker's Bad Fur Day on the N64 was uncensored versus Conker's Bad Fur Day on the Xbox.
Right.
Yeah.
Now,
all day.
Let's also ignore that there are games that were coming out on the PS4 and the Switch that were uncensored on the Switch, but not the PS4.
Yeah.
Now, quick question for F-Zero: is that not on Super Nintendo? The online?
Yo, I was
now?
just about to say that you can
It
get
is.
it in easy mode because you can stop it and start it. You can stop it and start it. Load it up,
which makes it so much easier to play.
Because
the quick question because the reason why I asked that is I'm pretty sure Nintendo tracks that.
But
there's two arguments with this whole situation because we had that whole thing to where they wanted Virtual Console out the gate like the Wii U was at the end. And then you got people that look at games they've never seen. Oh, what's this trash? What's this? I don't know what that is. Give you an opportunity to try it to see if you actually do like it. But people just want their particulars.
And that's the funny thing because they have it for the Super Nintendo. And you know these people have been clamoring to have GameCube Virtual Console for the longest time. And you know if that GX drops on the GameCube, who's really going to play it? Who is really going to be the ones to play it?
Then again, F-Zero, if I'm right, isn't F-Zero? Well, no, that was on the Wii U. Never mind. I was going to say F-Zero X is on there, but that was the Wii U.
That was
so,
Wii U.
Yeah.
And y'all didn't.
And nobody wanted to buy Wii U. The best implementation of Virtual Console. Period. Like I don't even
control.
I have so many games on there. So many games.
Well, here's another thing too. I think like the Wii actually proved Iwata right, and nobody wanted to. No Western game journalist was going to say that.
Oh, well, just do a Wii HD and it'll be fine. That was Wii U.
That's exactly
right.
With a better like the way they had their TV service set up on that TV app on Wii U.
Oh man.
Because honestly,
like
the Wii U,
I want that remote back. That universal remote was
oh my god.
But I mean, if you look at the Wii U, to me, I feel like that was more of a swan song to everything Nintendo's done versus the Switch, because you look at Virtual Console and you look at how many controllers that could be used with that system. Yeah, like that's true backwards compatibility in the form of not only hardware but software.
Yep. And I'm sorry, if you were a sports fan and you had fantasy football, baseball, basketball, you loved that Wii U sport. Yeah, that Wii
TV tag, I was all on it. Every game I was on there. I'm talking mad trash.
Have the gamepad up with the TV on, just mad.
So goodness.
Chatting the whole nine. Yep.
Or like how people used to use YouTube on there. They not the app, the browser going on there. You could set up YouTube, watch a video on there, but you could have the next thing set up on your gamepad, where you could have a video playing on YouTube, and then you could put another tab on the gamepad and be looking through something else.
But you know something? I just realized something. The only people that were actually bashing the Wii U outright was the game journalists, like Shuhei Yoshida, Phil Spencer. They loved the Wii U. Mm-hmm. They said it on multiple occasions. But
Microsoft was terrified of the Wii U.
Oh yeah.
Did Yoshida not buy one himself?
No, he had two of them.
He had two of them.
He got banned on both.
Because he got banned on the Miiverse on one of them.
That's right.
He got banned on both of them.
Oh, he got banned on both? I know one of them.
Because he advertised PlayStation stuff.
Okay.
Because he said he thought he would get around it because it was coming out for the Wii U as well. Like, you know, good and well, they knew that was you. They knew that was you.
They're like, hold on, this man bought a Wii U, got banned on that one, made another account on a different Wii U.
Man, and that's crazy to get banned on Miiverse, because Miiverse can be a cesspool at times. So you got banned on Miiverse, bro? Like
some of the drawings that popped up early on, like people were talented as far as their drawings went, but that was just Miiverse man.
That's why I really miss the Miiverse. I still wish they would bring that back, but hey,
I miss the Wii U in general.
Honestly, the gamepad and Miiverse was like a lot of people's art studio when they started.
Oh yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I like the fact that it was because a lot of people this week and the past week, for whatever reason, they're still going back to that old argument with a couple of other popular PlayStation YouTubers, and they're trying to go back and go through their trophies and stuff. And I'm like, that's not even a thing anymore. Everybody's got multiple accounts. It's not even a thing. Wii U, you could not lie about what games you were playing. If you went into a comment section, it would not allow you to post as a contributor that has owned the game if you did not play the game. It wouldn't have a little check bar next to your name.
Nope.
So there you couldn't even you were marked time you walked into a thread. People would be like, I'm not even listening to you. You haven't.
It was funny because I actually remember that because I remember asking a question about Ninja Gaiden because I was stuck on a part and there was this guy who was like, well, he's like, he sent me a message. I'm like, dude, you didn't play this game because I don't see it because everybody that's responded to me plays this game.
Yep.
So that's on you, brother. That's not on me.
That was probably the best part about it too, is that you could check people in real time, just be like, nah, you don't even have this game. Like, what are you doing?
And what you used to talk about a lot, Shadow, because Nintendo had implemented it, allowing you to do your own custom achievements. Yes, they put out, but they implemented it at the beginning.
Yeah,
and all day. Right now, that's on the Oculus side that a lot of people don't talk about. That's trying to get into VR, to where you can set out challenges for any game. Like I constantly get notifications that say, "Hey, look, this person beat this level on Beat Saber on hard. They put the challenge out. You got 5 days to try to beat their score."
That's good stuff. That's basically custom achievements on crack right there.
Yeah, right. And that's where Sony got the idea from. That's why you got that whole thing where people can do it on a PS5, where you can set up little trials and things. You can do the same thing, but that's where it initiated at was the Wii U. It was like, oh, I did this. This is what my score was, and I can show you this is what I did.
Yeah,
try to beat it.
Yep. Yeah, that's what Mario.
But they don't talk about that though. That's new. That's Sony new. Sony started that.
Oh,
that's where that started at.
You mean like how GameCube had connectivity to the Game Boy Advance, but then Sony did it with the PSP,
and that was brand new. But transferring.
Yeah, that was the first. That was the first. That was such a bad name.
Even though technically that started with the N64 and the Game Boy Advance. But, not Game Boy Advance, Game Boy Color. But we're not going to go there, right?
No, we're not going there.
That's the competition they want to have.
Yeah. All right, so let's get on to this next topic. So we're going to stay with Nintendo for a little bit, but we're adding Microsoft to the mix. Now, normally I do not condone rumors, but this is interesting because this goes back to something that happened, I want to say 3 or 4 years ago, between all three of the big three. And that was Nintendo and Microsoft have been getting real chummy lately. Now, some people think that they're going to bring Game Pass to the Switch. I personally don't think that.
No.
Personally, I think they're going to help them create their own version for Nintendo. Because, look, it does not do Microsoft any good to bring their Game Pass to Switch. It doesn't. No. It don't do them any good. But they probably get away with skimming off the top if they help Nintendo create theirs. And hey, we got a version we can sell to you.
The funny thing about that is like that's just another thing of them being buddy and Sony being the odd man out, man. They looking like the group that didn't do the homework, like Microsoft and Nintendo just doing their homework left and right, and Sony want to get the credit for it. And when it's time to turn in that homework, they like, well, we put our names on it.
Because that's what I think is happening here. If that's what the deal is, like they're gonna help them build their own. Because once again, Nintendo is what? A toy company. They don't have a network team that they don't. No. Microsoft has that. Like I was telling Andre the other day, I'm like, look, man, it's easy when you just go up a floor and be like, hey guys, that old network architecture y'all have, can we get that? The one that y'all ain't using no more. It's easy when you go up a floor and do that. Right. It's not easy when you don't have that. You don't have that ability. You have to go to somebody else and outsource it. It's not as easy as you think it is. And Shadow, you know this. When building a network architecture is not simple and it ain't quick, and you can't copy somebody else's. You can't.
I can build a VoIP server right now. I can build a VoIP.
It don't work like that. So
lies.
Yeah. So it's one of those situations where I'm like, if they're gonna do it, if I'm Nintendo, I see the value in them helping me fix my own line. Because we already know that I think Nintendo and Sony is probably gonna jump on Azure once if they not already have their, because I know the Amazon deal with them is up at the end of this year, I think.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
No more
So,
S3 buckets for anybody going forward. Looks
I'm
like.
so waiting for that because I still have the hope. I still have the hope that this means we are going to actually have the console wars in the way it should have been done, and that's having everybody playing cross-platform against each other.
Yeah.
So it could actually be something to be fun and be built up into instead of this. Oh, you
Sega
suck
tried.
playing that console.
Oh yeah,
Sega tried, but once again, Sony was were the people pumping the brakes on it. So it was GameCube and Xbox, and Sega was like, "Well, we're implementing Snap. Can we add this so PlayStation can play against Xbox and GameCube?" And Sony's like, "Pause." And that was that.
Hey, Andre, we'd had this conversation. You know what's going to happen when that crossplay happens? Gyro controls over twin stick all day long.
Oh my
Yeah,
god.
damn sure.
definitely.
Especially if we look, if I could talk to any Nintendo rep and I could be like, look, we just need a new version of the Wii Remote and Chuck that feel like the originals, completely wireless. They feel like the originals, but they're updated for the Switch or whatever new platform y'all coming out with for shooters.
Right.
Because
bruh,
The game
do that.
The game
do that. That's a near win.
bruh.
So the tech is already matured, right? You could literally just take the motherboard for a Joy-Con and put it inside of a Wii Remote shell, and it's already done. And then put the same shell inside of a nunchuck or what have you, right? And now you've got this little chip in there with all the extra technology in there, and you have actual analog sticks now, so you don't have to worry about any drift. And that's it.
Yep.
Too easy.
Yeah, but I'm sorry, that Wii Remote and Chuck for first person shooters ever since Conduit and Call of Duty Black Ops, bro, you could tell who was using Wii Remote and Chuck and who wasn't.
I'm still looking forward to seeing that versus mouse and keyboard because those are the two most accurate setups for the shooters.
And I really think depending on your dead zone, I really think it's a wash. Depending on what your dead zone is for either the mouse or the Wii Remote. So depending on how good you are, you're jumping in the air, aiming all kind of different ways. It's gonna happen either way.
Yeah.
Now with this service, Jay, now do you feel like Nintendo's gonna do what Microsoft does day and date? The first parties when they sell the way they do, or are they gonna say, okay, this is only exclusively for the back catalog? This ain't for the new stuff yet. We'll put something in there when the Switch is dead.
if I'm Nintendo and I'm looking at it, from a business standpoint, my first part is you ain't touching my first part. That's not coming to it.
Nope.
Right. Now, anything from GameCube, Wii U, we'll talk.
Okay.
Anything from Switch first party like Smash Brothers, Breath of the Wild, Mario Odyssey, nah,
Yeah,
y'all gotta go buy that.
Keep everything that's current.
Yeah,
off.
Y'all gotta go buy that.
Anything that was in the last generation or prior, put it on there. Because right now, the Game Boy Advance, as much as people, just like they do everything else, clamoring for Game Boy Advance games. That is the perfect window for you to do that handheld and the console games that people may have not touched, and a way for them to get a taste to see, okay, if this is what you really wanted before we give you a whole HD version of the damn game.
Yeah. Now, I will say that Nintendo kind of shot themselves in the foot with this SNK pocket color stuff they've been throwing up lately, like the SNK versus. Like, I'm like, bruh, y'all gonna have to do something because now people see that these games are on there, that it can be done. They're gonna want them Game Boy Advance games.
Yep,
they're just gonna want it. All right, before we go to the next one, let's go to the chat right quick because I did have
Don't go to the chat.
I knew she was back.
Not doing it. Okay. No. I take that back. We are not going to that.
What's up, FJ? What's up, Brendan?
Oh no, we're not going to the chat. So CD Projekt Red, they have announced that they have no plans to abandon Cyberpunk 2077. All right, Sandstorm, your thoughts?
Yeah, I'm gonna definitely take this one because I've been playing a lot of Cyberpunk, and man, You know, every time I get on Twitter, the funniest thing is that somebody's got to say something crazy about Cyberpunk. And
Mhm.
I mean, I play it on the PC, so I can't speak for you PS5 guys. I'm sorry for you PS4 guys. I I see what y'all going through. But
Mhm.
unfortunately, I still like the game. The
Mhm.
game is a great game. And it's funny, I tell people this all the time. The people who are complaining about Cyberpunk are the people who bought Skyrim day
Mm.
one,
Talk about it.
and love it and
Talk
love
about it.
Skyrim, but they want to be the same people who want to dog Cyberpunk for what it is. And
Hmm.
it's like why that game was it was a worse mess than what Cyberpunk was.
Well,
Yes, it was.
can I say
Uh,
one thing?
I,
Can I say what?
before
I'll
you
let
do that,
continue.
before you do that, I bought Skyrim on PS3.
Ouch.
Just
Hey,
want y'all
hey,
to know.
Well, I was just
brother,
gonna say.
we gonna
Day
pray for you.
one.
We
I
gonna
was
pray
just
for
gonna
you, bro.
say anybody
Gee.
complaining about Cyberpunk that bought like would continually buy a bunch of Bethesda games day one, you
You
don't
might
have
want to.
much of an
You
argument.
ain't got
Right.
yeah,
Yeah.
your ideas don't your thoughts don't count at that point.
Yeah.
At all.
Well, here's my whole thing about the Cyberpunk situation. Um, we knew they were having issues with the console versions last summer.
Mm-hmm.
So my thing was, if you know it's gonna work on PC, just be like, look, people, we're gonna. I know it's gonna be kind of weird to have to say this, but PC is gonna be day one.
Well,
Everybody else, you just gonna have to be
They
patient.
did it for The Witcher, so why not?
Yeah,
they
yeah,
did it for The Witcher.
Well, that's also before they had investors really
yeah,
in
and
CD Project Red.
yeah. Now that's the other reason why I think a couple months ago, me and Andre we were doing the podcast, and I told people I'm like, look, man, some of y'all gamers are to blame for this.
Yep.
Of course.
Yeah.
Y'all don't want to be held accountable for this,
Yeah.
but some of y'all are because one, you kept saying, well, just give me the game anyway.
Yeah.
Famous last words.
Oh,
Number
yeah.
two, number two is the developers ain't all at fault for this because I'm pretty sure they didn't want to put that out. But if you
Mhm.
got an investor on your back telling you, because the investor don't care, he just want his
He
check
just
at the
wanted
end of the
money.
year.
Yeah.
He want his check at the end of the year because he got a yacht to buy and he got to be at Leonardo DiCaprio's yacht party in Miami on December 24th.
Got bonuses and everything.
He ain't trying to hear. He ain't trying to hear crunch. He don't care about crunch. He don't care about anything.
Mhm.
He just want that check. So
Right.
if they said, "Look, we're gonna have to put this out in October," then guess what? It's coming out in October. I don't care about y'all.
Right.
I don't.
And
So-
I'm telling you this. Sony and Microsoft was another one of those people. They were another one of those people. Hey, we got new consoles coming
So
out.
we need
We
something.
ain't got no games. We ain't got no games.
Right.
Oh, he said the quiet part out loud. Oh, were they not ready to launch? Oh,
Everybody knew that, but they were just hungry for
Right.
something shiny and new, man.
Y'all got
everybody-
it. Come out
You
with
got to
something.
think of it this way: if they didn't put out new platforms, people were going to be mad because Nintendo Switch was running away with it.
still is.
They needed
Still
something
is.
to grab. I know, but it's the same situation as what happened with the Wii U.
Right.
The Wii U came, and it's like people forget this. The Wii U came out, then the Xbox One and PS4 got announced. It
Right.
wasn't that
Yes.
they were announced before it came out. Like, and I always wonder about the argument. How is it that the hardware is weak compared to the other platforms when it came out before they were even concepts given to the public?
Mhm.
exactly.
Exactly.
And to be honest, I mean, I know people don't like to go with this, but look, Animal Crossing, as one of our good friends on Twitter always says, day one, shout out to him. That Animal Crack, that Monster Hunter crack, because you see people that can't stand you saying anything positive about them. They posting up pictures of their hunts.
Oh yeah.
Mhm.
Mhm.
Yeah. But I tell you another thing though, that's hurting. These top tier influencers that can't get into Monster Hunter, so they can't speak on it. It's killing them.
Or they're in
Right.
pain streaming it. They're streaming it, not knowing what's happening. Oh, I don't. How do I click?
It's hurting.
And my thing is, look, there are enough people that's playing Monster Hunter Rise right now. You can go find somebody that'll help you
yeah.
out. The community,
Yeah.
the community is actually pretty good. I don't like playing with randoms, but I have a reason for not wanting to play with randoms. But if you really need the help, if you really do need, there's a lot of cool people that
yeah,
on the Switch that'll be like, hey, look, I'll help you take out because I want to try this combo out anyway, and I need a weak monster to try it out on.
Right.
Yeah.
Exactly.
So they will help you out. That's why I just think it's funny when I see all these people that constantly hate and do all that, but then you see they Twitter profile and their Facebook profile drop list is way different than what they've been saying. Way different. So yeah, and for CD Projekt Red, I kind of feel bad for them just because they kind of like caught in the middle. Because we know they're good, they're not a bad developer.
No,
they're not.
Never have been.
But the thing is, when you have to deal with investors and you have to deal with people that ain't gamers telling you how to, telling you that you got to do this by this time because I don't care. I want my check.
I think that's where influencers hurt too. Influencers heard it too because you think about how much pressure having an influencer, God forbid, just IGN or GameSpot or something like that is kind of pitch your game or whatever, and you're doing the advertisement yourself and controlling it. But when you got everybody talking about the game, looking at every trailer, just going over it with fine-tooth comb, and now the game gets delayed and delayed and delayed, and that's just building the hype, and that's why I feel like they would never release a Half-Life 3. The hype's too high.
Nope. It would never it would never meet anything.
It would never meet everybody's expectations because people will overhype themselves.
All right.
Okay. You know what's gonna happen though.
Nintendo has been victim of multiple times.
Yeah.
Cyberpunk is gonna get an HD remaster.
Yeah.
They're gonna get an HD remaster.
And that'll fix everything.
Look at No Man's Skies. No Man's Skies literally came out telling a complete and utter lie to where they had to change the GameStop cases. And then now it just won an award last year.
Because it's a complete game now.
It's a complete different game now.
Look, when No Man's Sky was being made, and they were like, we always like, what is the point of this game?
Yeah,
right.
Like, is it?
It's mysterious. Just buy it.
Is it Minecraft or what? Because you just see things moving and people moving around and stuff happening, but you don't know what is the purpose of any of it. And I'm like, I can't play a game without knowing at least what direction my end goal is.
Right. Yeah. Is it survival?
I mean, it was. Well, it was like 6 straight conferences that they were at that they showed the same exact gameplay, the same people. They didn't even change up the people.
With the same lies. With the same lies.
I'm like,
same lives,
I'm like, bro, I'm not buying this game. You're not telling me nothing. I'm not buying it.
Right.
And the people that went and bought it, that fell for the hype and went and bought it, they were pissed off.
I would be too.
But I'm like, y'all fell for it. I'm like, they didn't tell you nothing.
They literally told y'all nothing at all. Like even when he went on different shows. What was it? He went on the Late Show and was talking about the game, and I was like, you literally said you gave us a whole page worth of words, but said literally nothing.
Nothing.
Yep.
He looked nervous doing all of it too. Like he knew.
And it was the biggest problem was that Sony also kept pushing it. And it didn't help the situation. And I also remember back then, and I still remember because I made the video before anybody announced it because I looked into the game and saw it was coming to PC. I was like, this game is not PS4 exclusive. It's coming out on PC too. It took nearly a year for any of the big gaming YouTubers and stuff to figure that out. I'm like, I found this out a week after they announced it.
That hype cycle was definitely planned. And you can, it's been a thing that's been happening in the game industry for a while. You start to pick up on the jargon all the time. Oh, well, the scope of this game is so visceral, and you'll be like, just the keywords they decide to use. And I'm like, that has nothing to do with the game. You're not describing the game at all. Like it's going to be gripping. The storytelling will be epic. And like, but so what are you doing in the game? When you pick up a controller, what are you doing? It's just gonna be epic. You're gonna be swept away. It's
you're gonna be.
Hold on, you remember that slide? You remember that slide? The game is so vast that you will that when you play with somebody else, you won't be able to find them.
Well, hold on.
Oh yeah, that's a reason they didn't find them. They wasn't multiplayer. They were right. You can't find them.
I was say that's technically not a lie because the game was so vastly disappointing. Nobody wanted to play it.
Because there were people that show videos at the same location but could not see each other, so they didn't lie.
When they're saying all this stuff, are they not acknowledging the fact that one of the largest game masses in gaming history is still a 2D game, and that's Daggerfall? Like, what are we doing? Like, what are we doing? So we got old school PC games that still have a larger game mass. Like, you got Baldur's Gate and stuff still having a larger game mass than some of these quote unquote open world games, and I just don't like. How big is the play field of the world going to be that you can actually interact with?
Visualize,
exactly. And instead of just saying, hey, you can walk from this end to this end over here, are you doing anything in between? Say what you will. A lot of people tried to say that Xenoblade was empty. No, that game is filled with stuff. Xenoblade Chronicles X is filled to the brim with everything.
That was the same people that had that reaction to Breath of the Wild. Is that
Breath of the Wild as well? I'm like, the same people made that game, right? Like, I don't.
They saw one clip with some wide open space and complained that the game was empty.
But then, the clip that they showed, but here's the funny thing about it: the clip that they showed, when you go play that part in the real game, there's 2 Guardian Stalkers and a damn Hinox in there. Go there if you bad. The reason why I know that is because when I first got the game in the first week, I'm just walking along, just enjoying myself, just looking at the beautiful vista until I hear that chime. I'm like, do I hear boss music?
If that game was that empty, you would never have any issues with combat because you could always just run away.
Right.
And that is not the case in that game because you will run around and run into the wrong thing, and
then you
get the piano music.
Run into the wrong thing and lose 3 hours of progress.
Yeah,
real.
The funny thing about it was that you can straight up run into a Lionel, a Guardian Stalker, and a Hinox at the same time, trying to get away from one of them.
And they'll fight each other trying to kill you. Like, it's amazing to be like.
It's like, this is my target.
Pretty much.
So we lie about these games, and then when they come out, like, we're supposed to be like thankful that you gave us a piece of a game, and you want us to subscribe to DLC for it to get the thing that you originally promised, like HD games in 2006. Like, I don't understand. Like, how long are people going to be caping for the lies? Like, if we were supposed to have 720p and higher in 2006, why are we still talking about 1080p in games in 2021? Why are we still talking about 60 frames per second with 60 frames per second? That was happening in N64 games. Why are we doing this? Why are we and before we even get that in every game, before we get 1080p in every game, we're on to the next thing, trying to play 4K games. What are we doing?
We were trying to get the 8K. I mind you,
8K. Oh yes,
8K is a thing now.
And there are 16K cameras already happening in the film right now, so it's just going to get worse. We're going to keep on chasing this. Like,
dude, Iwata said it best.
Bigger and bigger numbers for no reason.
Iwata said it best. He like, gaming cannot keep up with this. This is not a good model for gaming to have, and everybody said he should be fired.
It's sad because
and 10 years later, Phil Spencer says the same thing, and now he's a visionary.
So 4K gaming isn't as difficult as 1080p gaming is now because you have the tools in place, and now all the texture work, all the design work you have and everything is designed to be scalable. So you can just go back in Illustrator and redesign that texture and stretch it out so it works well when you increase resolution, right? So you can do that infinitely up to 16K or whatever you're going to support in the future with the same game engine. The problem now is, what do you store it on when the game's complete? When you compile the code, what do you store it on?
I'm going to need to get 2 10 terabyte external hard drives from Best Buy on sale right now.
I mean, you could just get a hard drive. You can get a 2 terabyte drive and then put the logo of the game on there because that's the game you're gonna. The new Call of Duty game. It's a hard drive. Just stick the hard drive
into your system. Plug this hard drive.
The entire 1 terabyte SSD. Just stick it in.
That's what they need to do now.
I mean,
pretty much.
At this point,
that was the biggest problem with everything being pushed to 4K. But and they completely skipped 2K. 1440p, they just jumped over that.
Yeah. Like, they jumped over 1440p, and 1440p is the sweet spot right now. That's good.
Yeah, I'm like,
that's why I don't understand why people crap on the Series S. I mean, that's a golden spot for it.
That is a perfect console for. I think that console is going to do what it was designed to do infinitely better than even Series X at this point. Because 1440p, it's just going to cough that up no matter what. Because it's the same chipset as the Series X, and it's just going to chew through it. It's not even going to be a problem. I think you should be able to see 1440p consistently in that game. If the game is designed to run in 1440p, it will on the Series S no matter what. I really think that console, if they design all their games around that and then just add it up for Series X or what have you, they'll have a killer pair of consoles there, I think. But
that's too much logic. That's the same logic I'm saying about Switch.
But 1440p 60 frames per second, that's doable.
Well,
that's doable.
Because I told y'all about when I got that email from Square Enix about Avengers, and they straight up sent an email to everybody that has that game that played the beta, I guess, and they commented out on what the stable frame rate was. If you try to play that game in 4K, it was going to be stable was 30. You can't, even if you're on PS5 and Series X, if you played in 120 frames per second, they said it's inconsistent. That's them saying that. That's not Digital Foundry. That's Square Enix.
Why do it?
You know what's so funny? Even with all this 4K stuff we're talking about right now, the 4K and the games are struggling. A lot of these games still haven't turned on ray tracing yet. So it's only going to get worse if they change from rasterization. So, and that's supposed to be one of the giant tick boxes on the back of these consoles. It's not. It's not going to work the way.
That's the glory.
Yeah, that's the cover-up story right now until they get everything else under control.
Problem is,
but we got a good thing out of it. PS4 fulfilled the promise of the original PS3, so that's good. We finally got 1080p.
Right.
In some games, a lot of games, I guess. So, that happened. So we at least got that. But to me, I feel that when you try to chase tech and stuff like that, and you're using the buzzwords from PC video card manufacturers, like, it's not going to get you anywhere. The bottom line is this: if you're going to pimp something like that for your console, you have to enforce with a iron fist that every game is going to support what you're promising. What is the point of telling me that your console can do 4K if we're going to get games? If we're still to this day going to get games released for your console that are going to be using adaptive resolution, which means at some point, at some frame in the game, I'm going to see 540p, and this is supposed to be a 4K console. What's the point? Don't even tell me if I'm not going to get that every frame all the time. Like, I don't even. It just bewilders me. And you got Nintendo over here that just says, "Yeah, we'll support up to 1080p on our console." Up to. They're not even promising, and they're not even focusing on it. And you're over here like, well, it doesn't even do. I'm like, well, your console doesn't even do what it said it was going to do. So how can you even go over here and then? And it's just amazing to me.
And another thing too is I think like a lot of these games now, especially some of the more seasoned game companies, you see a lot of their stuff is changing their whole art style up now. Like the Dynasty Warriors series, 5 is going straight cell shade, like Samurai Showdown did. Samurai Showdown went straight cell shade because and the games look better and great. I don't think everything needs to be ultra realistic. I'm sorry, I just don't think that.
No, we don't need to see the beads of sweat going down. The gun.
Y'all gonna be paying all these photographers to go on all these safari hunts to take these high resolution texture shots? Are y'all doing this?
That's where the $70 price tag comes from.
Nobody gonna pay
that's a whole nother topic.
Let's be honest. People's already paying more than $70 for video games since the 60
back then.
If you bought anything that Square Enix has put out that's a collector's edition, you pay more than $70.
Or anything from EA
put out.
You pay more than anything from $100 up.
You paid $100 minimum. You paid $100.
Or if you was one of those people, well, which game was it? Was it Watch Dogs? They did the collector's set that didn't actually have a game in it.
Watch Dogs.
Yeah, that was Watch Dogs.
I was like, how you gonna have a collector's set for a game?
I can't collect.
That don't include the game.
All right, that was funny. All right, so we had 3 shows come out last week. We had the Indie World presentation. Me and Jack did a live review of that. If you want to, you can check that out. AEW Games. Kenny Omega decides to go full heel on us and drop a little update out of nowhere. Don't know why he did that, but I ain't have nothing to do with this whole heel turn thing.
He's going full heel in general, so
yeah. So there it is, and we had an RE showcase. So what I want to do right quick is we'll do AEW first because that was only 13 minutes, and I think the main thing with that was Kenny pretty much basically said, "Look, man, we're working on it. We don't have anything big, so since I got all this other stuff to do, I'm gonna let somebody else host when we don't have a lot of information to get out." So Allie, the bunny, if y'all been watching, she's gonna be hosting from now on until they have something big. Now I do think they're gonna have a presence at E3. There's no way in hell Kenny's gonna miss out on that. Ain't no way. And I'm pretty sure they're gonna have something big at Tokyo Game Show. That'll give him an excuse to go to Japan. So
who's the publisher? Is Jax publishing this?
I think it is.
Okay.
I think so. But I think that's where they're gonna have their big reveals at. But meanwhile, they'll just have Ali, she'll be doing it. So look, I liked it. They gave us an update on the general manager. That app actually looks pretty fun. It looks pretty fun. It does look fun. I've not done the casino thing. I don't care about casino app games, so I don't. It's not my thing. Right. So I haven't even looked at it. But the general manager thing does look interesting. The artwork looks good, and they showed off some new characters that they have and some new little animations. I thought that was actually pretty cool. So that's pretty much that in a nutshell. Now, the indie presentation. There's 3 games that I liked from that, and then I'll let y'all give y'all's Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles.
Hey man.
The Aztec game with the thickest chick. I mean,
you ain't
with the very what man? I'm trying to talk about how great the artwork looked.
Yeah. You are a man of culture, sir. You are a man of culture. That's all I can tell you.
I'm just saying artwork. And the third one was Oxenfree. So those 3 games they had me. It was only 21 minutes, but they got a lot of games out. So Shadow, did you get a chance to watch it?
The indie presentation, yes, I did. I didn't get a chance to play the indie demo, the skater demo.
Never Yield, yeah.
I want to try that eventually as soon as I can if I can get away from Hades at some point in time. Quick aside, I'm not a big fan of Supergiant Games stuff, but this is easily the best. This is the best game they've made. And I'm a believer in them now.
Yeah,
I will say that much. I was a fan of Transistor, not so much of the original game.
Bastion? You ain't like Bastion?
The combat to me was too slow. Definitely in the beginning, it was too slow.
I would say it does pick up.
Yeah, it does pick up later, but in the beginning, it felt like work, and the narrator was kind of slow too. But it's so. Hades picks up so fast, but anyways, I'll get into probably that new demo as soon as I can. But easily to me, it was Oxenfree 2 because Oxenfree caught me kind of off guard from I think that was 2017, 2018, I think when it was originally talked about on Steam. And I heard that an old Game of the Year discussion panel back when Ryan was still alive on Giant Bomb, and so I'm like, I gotta try this game, and I played it on Steam, and I didn't really get that far into it, and then when it came out for Switch, I was like, okay, I know exactly what to do. I'll run through this game, I know what to do at the beginning, and then I'll start doing what I need to do to open different paths in this game, and if they're going to even remotely touch on some of the stuff that they touched on in the first game, I think this is going to be pretty good because there were a lot of things they left open to interpretation, and they left a lot of different gameplay aspects open because they introduced you to some gameplay aspects and then they just played with them a little bit and then they went on to something else. And I'm like, whoa! So if they had a sequel to this game, this could be interesting. So now that that's actually coming, I'm kind of interested in all the gameplay aspects that they kind of toyed with a little bit. They teased in that trailer, so.
Yep.
I want to see where that's going to go. So to me, that's definitely the standout for me in that indie direct. So I was pleasantly surprised to see that there.
All right, cool. Sandstorm.
There was a couple of those. TMNT, man.
Yes.
Yo.
But that's the obvious because we're all
we're at the right age.
Yeah.
Aztec looked great to me. There was another game. It actually it reminded me of something, and it was Getsu Fuma. And as soon as I seen that, I was like, "Oh God, I want a Muramasa Blade again. I need that game so badly." But yeah, I think overall it was a pretty good presentation. I kind of wanted House of Dead as like the series instead of just the first one. I mean, at least we got one of them.
Big toe in.
Yeah, at least we got one of them. So yeah, it was all right. It was all right.
I need a zapper for that game, though, man. I need a zapper. I need a zapper.
Shotgun, something. I need.
Yeah, I need something. But, all right, Andre, what about you?
Overall, I enjoyed the whole thing, and House of the Dead was one of the standouts to me. Yeah, just like Sandstorm, I kind of wish it was like them going ahead and doing the trilogy, or even instead of doing the first House of the Dead, go back and redo Overkill.
I was just about to say I need a sequel to that
because Overkill was the one that was over the top. It was fun. It was outrageous, but it also had those challenge moments between sections, which made the game a lot of fun. So it was either a full trilogy or Overkill would have been my preference, but I'm happy that they're putting more energy back into it. That means that stuff like Virtual Cop will probably come back. And if they do Virtual Cop,
that'd be dope.
I definitely want to see that come back because.
But I need a zapper for that. I need a zapper for that. I need a zapper for this. I can't do this without no zapper, man. I need a zapper for this.
At least give me the original NES gun.
Yeah, something. Yeah. Give me something.
But then also, I was like, I really wish they wouldn't have put TMNT in the middle of the show. Right. Put it toward the end.
Yeah.
Because after that, it feels a little deflated. You got the hype up from that.
Yeah.
Right.
Like, why couldn't y'all put this at the end?
I was gonna say they should either have ended or started with it. I think
you can't put it in the middle. And it was right in the middle. It wasn't like it was
dead center.
It was the middle game. There was no way around that. Yeah. They should have one or the other, end or beginning, but not middle. It didn't feel right.
I can agree with that. I can agree with that. Jack.
As I said when we were on the podcast, this was like, for me, if I walk away with at least 2 or 3 games I want to buy, it's a win for me as far as the show goes. I can care less how you present it. As long as you show me what I want, I'm good. But just like Shadow, Oxenfree was a thing that got me. And for that to be like that last little cliffhanger like they always do, Oxenfree 2, I'm definitely picking that up. I might actually play through it again because I initially did it on Game Pass, but it's no longer on Game Pass. But if you want to play it, it's $10 on the Switch right now.
Yeah.
So definitely try out Oxenfree, but I'm looking forward to Oxenfree 2, Ollie Ollie World, of course, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, like everybody else. And then I showed some interest in Aztec Forgotten Gods because it looked pretty cool when we looked at it.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
And then that Route 96. When it first came on, I was like, what is this?
I was thinking that was going to be like Life is Strange. It kind of gave me
that's what it reminds me of.
Yeah.
So,
I mean,
then they talked about how it has the branching paths and the different stories and characters. It's like, that's a pretty cool concept, and you wouldn't think that would be something that they would go with that direction with the way it looked. Because you could have a peaceful trip, or you could have complete and utter chaos, and I like that it has that variation.
Exactly. So when this first came on, me and Jay looking at this like, what the hell is this game?
Yeah.
But I mean, I like the whole premise behind it, so I might actually give that a shot. But definitely for sure, the main one I'm looking forward to is Oxenfree 2, because I'm not really into kind of like your point and click or little storytelling type games. But that story was just so good that
Yeah.
I just I played through it multiple times, and then like you said, the cliffhangers and the little stuff that they had at the end and the powers that you get, that's a game everybody should definitely play, at least try it out.
I think also too that game will probably live and die by the voice performances too. So hopefully they
Right.
can continue to keep, if not the same cast, get the same caliber of cast for the second game, because
Right.
the voice and the sound design for that game in general is just dope.
Yep.
The music cuts in right when it needs to. The sound effects work when they need to in full 3D surround. Like the bass is great. Like you can't beat that kind of an experience. So I'm hoping that game comes through the way that the first one did. So
Oh yeah, definitely looking
And
forward. But yeah, that was me. That was everything. I mean, I liked this show in general. Like I think this is the most I've walked away from indie games on an indie world, like trying to get 4 or 5 games that are here. And I
now I
did try
will.
the
hit.
demo out too.
Yeah.
My bad, Jay. I did try out the demo. In regards to the game we were talking about earlier, they do need to touch it up a little bit because sometimes the button presses were not responding like I need them to on time. It seemed like it was like a delay. I don't know if that's on purpose.
like Mortal
But
Kombat delay, you press the button and then okay.
right
So,
then after
yeah.
the fact. So I mean, and it's also too where they have like the D-pad in the upper left corner, to where every action has a color to it. So each direction has that color on the D-pad, but you don't see that color until they get ready to tell you to actually press it, which isn't a problem on easy because there's a lot of slowdown before you get there. But I can only imagine when you get to hard, because there is a hard difficulty to where you're not going to have that much time of a slowdown. And they tell you within the bar, hey, when you get to this difficulty, this is what we're taking away from you. So you got to know up is red, right is yellow, and blue is down, and all the other stuff, and you got to react quick.
Yeah, because that's what I was about to say. I tried the Never Yield demo out. I actually have some gameplay of if you want to see me how many times I crash. And don't forget to give that a like.
Shameless
yeah, but yeah.
Not so shameless.
The funny thing about it though, I was dying hilariously. By the way, I started laughing at a couple of them because it was just funny how I was destroying myself. But the music is dope in that. I'm not gonna lie. I hope old boy lets us get that soundtrack.
Yeah, hopefully.
That should be a thing.
Yeah, I was digging the soundtrack, but yeah, I like it. And like you, Jack, they do need to tighten some stuff up because the button presses there's a hellified delay. On
Yeah.
on
I
some
thought
of
it was
them,
just me. I was like, what the
Nope,
hell?
it ain't just you. It ain't just you. Trust me. Okay, so the last thing we're gonna talk about today is this Resident Evil showcase that happened as well. I'm gonna be honest. I'm just not feeling the village. I'm not.
I'm not. No.
I'm not
I
feeling.
mean, but then again, I can't really say anything because I've never been into Resident Evil. So
See,
I can't really
I
say.
have. That's the problem. And now, don't get me wrong. I'm glad they took the steroids out of Chris Redfield. Thank you for doing that. I'm glad they took the steroids out. But I mean, it's clear this brother did not have the super soldier serum. It's clear he didn't have that. But I'm sitting here. I'm watching the presentation. It looks great. It looks atmospheric and all that. But it's just something about it. I can't get into it. I just can't. It's not doing it.
It's one of those situations like Resident Evil 7. It don't feel like Resident Evil.
Yeah.
Mhm.
It
Now,
feels
you
like
just-
something else with Resident Evil's name stuck to it.
Yeah, like if you just want to call this The Village, fine. But
So I have a problem with this because they know what would work, and so they remade Resident Evil 2 and 3 in that same engine, and that works just fine for what they're trying to do. And they can still do the slow pulls to show whatever camera angles they want to if they just want to focus on something, and then go right back to the action behind the character. I just don't know why they decided to stay that way for 8. Especially seeing after they tested 2 and it became a phenomenal success. So like at that point, you're just like, hey, look, So the demo that we have internally, because they do have a demo internally as far as like which camera angles they're going to use, that's like a switch for them at that point where you just like, hey, look, it turns out that third person is really fucking popular, so maybe we should go in as we delve further into this game, at least produce a trailer. Let's produce a vertical slice with a hint that we'll have some third person elements in here and see how people react and go from there. But they don't. I guess they're full steam ahead, and we'll see what happens with that. But if you do a Resident Evil 9 and it's still first person, man, I don't know how this is gonna go. I don't know how this is gonna go forward as far as like fans of the series, because they're clearly turned off by the change. I think so.
I think honestly is because they came up with that character for 7 and they're continuing with him. So for that particular character, they don't want to change the perspective.
They want to keep his view the way.
Yeah, they want to keep his view the same way, which I can kind of understand. But again, this could have been, if you wanted it to be tied to Resident Evil, it could have been a spin-off series rather than the main games. I think that's the biggest problem is that this is mainline and it feels so different from the mainline stuff. Whereas they've had tons of other spin-offs that you knew were spin-offs, but they were still connected. But they were the thing.
Give it like you don't even have to give it a subtitle. Just give it a name that's kind of like Resident Evil, so people know what it is. Like so like just say Village Evil or something like that, or what have you, so people know that it's still within the same universe. Kind of like how the Cloverfield movies did. They were all shot differently. They were all technically talking about the same event, but you don't know that until the end of them, because otherwise they're all completely different stories. You could do that kind of in that way, I think, without having to say Resident Evil : this, or just make sure it's the same theme, kind of, so you know that it's in the same universe or whatever. And then as you play the game, you walk by Chris Redfield or what have you, kind of situation, and it'll still work, I think, as a separate franchise versus, hey guys, this is Resident Evil. It looks nothing like Resident Evil, but here you go. Like, kind of, I don't know how to. It's a lot of fans out there that just want to see the back of somebody's head as they walk and go shoot people. I don't know why that is, but that's the thing. And the Resident Evil fans are not. Those old school Resident Evil fans are not clicking.
Look, man. Look. They got vampires. They got werewolves. This is not Resident Evil. This is Underworld.
True.
Technically, yeah.
This is Underworld.
True.
That's another reason it just feels.
I said that as soon as I seen that first trailer.
If you played Code Veronica, though, you kind of knew that a lot of that stuff could still happen, because the whole point was about playing with genes and seeing how the human psyche responds or how nature responds. But I don't know. I'm just I'm two sides about it, because I mean, I'll play Resident Evil 7 in first person. I have no problem with that, but I know the vast majority of people that buy Resident Evil games don't like that for whatever reason. So that's a tough problem for Capcom. I don't know what to.
People straight up hated Resident Evil Survivor.
Well, because that's because you have to sit up and make a game called Resident Evil Rise.
Shadow, you saying you play VR? I think he froze. Shadow, you saying you play Resident Evil 4?
Would I play it in VR? I would.
I about to say,
I want to see a problem.
Try Resident Evil 4, because that's coming out on Oculus.
Yeah, I wouldn't.
I don't even do Resident Evil, but I'm trying that. Like I have to.
That's a classic. You can't
Resident
Evil do nothing but make that game great.
Resident Evil 4 is like one of the best games in the series. So
I've been told.
Yeah,
there's not much they can do to really change that game.
Yeah.
No.
Jack, I'm gonna tell you right now, if you don't like horror movies or horror games, you don't want to play that. You don't want to do that.
Because here's the difference with me, because I've gone on record saying I don't pay myself to get scared. I don't pay to get scared at all. But the thing is, like, it's the difference between games and movies for me. So, like, with movies, they're predictable. So there's nothing scaring me. Like, I'm coming from the era of Chucky, Candyman, and all that stuff, to where it really did scare the hell out of me. But it's predictable now. As far as gaming goes, I don't get down with the whole jump scare. I'm sitting there, that's not my thing. Like, especially, I'm not even big on stealth. Like, I'm just trying to come in and shoot. If I gotta do some cover base, cool. But if you got me creeping around the corner, it's just done. I'm like, no, stop.
Yeah,
turn this off.
Amnesia or what was the other game? Condemned. Oh God, Condemned
No,
was
like
was pretty
no.
bad.
Just
Condemned
come
was
at me.
horrible.
Just come at me. Don't come around the corner. Just no, I'm done.
Well, you come around the corner with me on Resident Evil 4, you got a shotgun to the head. So yeah,
Yeah. So
I
I'm
mean, I
curious
didn't
as to
play
how
that.
they're doing it with VR because most of these horror games typically be on rails. So I'm kind of
Hmm.
curious as into how they're gonna do. I've seen the footage of it, and I mean it
It
looks
looked
like
interesting.
Resident Evil 4. It looks interesting. So
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, Quest is pretty decent with demos. So I'm kind of curious if they'll go that route to drop a demo because I got a feeling this is gonna be a $30-$40 VR game. I got a
I
feeling.
think that would ruin the post game stuff though. Once you do the the post game stuff that you do for getting high scores and all that kind of stuff, basically replaying the village and stuff like that, and trying to see how you can rack up how many combos or what have you by so many kills in a row.
Mhm.
Um, I think VR would kind of kill that though, because you would always see everybody coming from around the corner, so you you would probably just rack up the highest score possible in your first couple of attempts, I would imagine, because you're that situation of being able to walk through a little nook or cranny or whatever and still know that somebody's coming around the corner because you saw them in your peripheral.
Mhm.
I think that will kind of take away from the way the game was originally programmed. Because
Yeah, I mean,
that game was banked on you not seeing a slew of zombies come around from another area
that's the
that'll
one thing.
move behind geometry, and you can see that with your peripheral. So
Right. Well, that's the one thing I look at, VR depending on what headset you have. Because if you look at the Oculus compared to PSVR, like there's no peripheral vision. Like you have to turn your head. There's none on the side. But in regards to Oculus, there is some, I think it's like, 90
it's like right
degrees.
here.
Yeah. So, I mean, you can still get away with it because there are still some zombie games to where if you just turn to the left just a little bit, everything on the right hand side, if you don't hear it, it'll catch you. And that's what I like about it too, because of the headphones. If somebody's talking in front of me and I turn my head to the left, the audio is only coming out of my right ear. And I like that aspect of it. So you're gonna have to do more of a sound situation more than visual when it comes down to it.
Interesting. I won't be doing that. So, all right. So, people, I hope you guys have enjoyed our podcast tonight. Thank everyone for joining and chatting in the chat. And before I say my last thing I'm gonna say about the chat, Vicky, I'm not doing it. So, that being said, Jack, you wanna give your wrap up?
Oh yeah, nothing too crazy. Just watch out for some more VR videos, more gaming videos. I'm gonna start doing more opinion videos as well. But usually I like to just come and give them out on here on the show. But other than that, if you don't see anything pop up, I've gotten heavy into music again. Just kind of stuck with like two or three albums right now. So yeah,
Oh,
mixing
okay.
and mastering is a bastard, but it's fun. So so yeah,
All
that's
right.
about it.
All right. Shadow.
So Shadowcast will be coming tomorrow. I'll be doing a little discussion with Black Super Saiyan on Twitter. We'll be talking about a couple things with regards to Nintendo Switch and the way they go forward from there. So it should be around the same time tomorrow. So look for it then. I'll put some stuff out on social media so you see how to join. We'll go from there. But
Super Saiyan Blue or Super Saiyan regular?
yeah. All of the above.
Andre.
Well, I mean, I don't have a whole lot that has popped up. I've kind of let my channel rest a little bit, but I got stuff coming. But hey, you can always go check my older videos that have constantly been proven right, like my Pac-Man Battle Royale video that came true 2 years afterwards. So,
Is that so?
I mean, that's up to you to check. I could be very wrong, but I do believe I made that video and that actually happened, just like my pitch for Switch videos that keep happening, just like that video I called out Microsoft for doing Play Anywhere, and then they decided to actually try to attempt to do it. So, hey.
Oh, boy. All right, Sandstorm.
I
Did
think
freeze
he
out on us?
froze.
I think he has like
Yeah.
a delay.
All
I think so.
right.
Mike.
Hopefully, I won't. I'm going in and out. So,
There you
Okay.
go.
All right.
I got a video coming tomorrow for you guys. Am I good? Okay, I got a
Yeah.
video going for you for tomorrow, talking about Switch Pro possibly coming at E3. We already know that situation. So, and yeah, other than that, I think that's about it. I got a couple beats going on, kind of like Jack, that I'm working
Really?
on, but I can't let y'all see that
I didn't know that.
until later. Yeah, I can't let y'all see that until later. So,
All right, cool.
yeah, that's it
Look
with me.
forward to it.
All right, cool. All right, so I do have over on the gaming channel, like I stated before, the Never Yield, me dying hilariously. I also have I'm still gonna be doing my Monster Hunter stuff. I got a couple of them probably coming out next week as well. I'm more than likely going to put up some retro games, some like Bad Dudes, simply because it's the 80s and it's Bad Dudes. What can I say? So
Oof.
it speaks for itself. So,
That game is rough.
Yeah. So gonna try to get a couple of Let's Talks in next week as well. One for Bladed Fury, and hopefully I'll have enough time to do one for Monster Hunter Rise initial impressions. So that's pretty much what's gonna be coming from me. Other than that, don't forget to check out the Fresh Take Falcon and Winter Soldier episode reviews. We have them on Sundays at 10 a.m. See, episode 6 season finale is next Sunday, so check it out. Me and Vicky will be doing those, and I'm not gonna say it, Vicky. So, that being said, we'll see you guys next week on the Wingin' It podcast. Thank you for joining. We'll see y'all later. Peace.
Later.
Peace.
I'll just say that one thing: melanin.
God damn it.
He had to do it.